the holidays are 40, 45 days away from us. So in terms of ocean shipping, everything's been shipped and it's either, already been moved into a warehouse or into the stores, or it's waiting backed up in a port somewhere, or it may even be waiting backed up on a ship somewhere at anchor. So the immediate short term is very difficult. And then in 2022, we have an early Chinese New Year, as we all know, the 1st of February. So we're going to see this continuous peak buffer going past the past the traditional end year holidays, 221, early 222. And then I would hope that we will start to see some improvement during 222. But that links back to two key items. One is the world getting over the COVID-19 developments, and we need to get past COVID to be able to improve the productivity and working conditions on the landside logistics, which is ultimately the key bottleneck. Container shipping is a flow like a pipeline all the way through from origin factory overseas to destination port, right through to the inland point, right through to the warehouse, right through to the retail store. And at the moment, the biggest bottlenecks are actually on that destination inland logistics area. So we need COVID-19 to free up and make the workforce and the working operations on the land side easier. And once we can do that, then that bottleneck will no longer push back into the ports and back onto the ships. The second area is we need to maintain, industrial relations stability, and particularly in North America, where on the west coast of the USA, we have the ILWU negotiations, which will be taking place during April, May, and June. And if those go well, then we should see no change in productivity. But if they don't go well, that could have a further impact on port productivity at a critical time in the USA on the West Coast.
I'm still sensing a fair amount of uncertainty that you're laying out there in your answer for 2022. What is certain to your mind, Jeremy? Because obviously the supply chain bottlenecks are, of course, leading to freight costs going up, which is then passing on and showing up in inflation. And so what's your sense? I mean, what is it that you're watching out for, particularly in the coming year?
Well, you're right to say that. I mean, we've seen inflationary costs on trucking, on warehousing, in port costs, as well as on, container shipping costs and also the actual charter costs of vessels. And this is due to the really extreme supply and demand dynamics that are playing out right here. So we would obviously hope in 2022 that we start to see a calming down in terms of alignment on supply and demand. At the moment, demand is high, but supply is really cut back because of these problems. If that could come into alignment, we should start to see improvements, hopefully in the second half of 2022. But we really, frankly, have still some way to go because there is so many bottlenecks and it's going to take a long time to free up.